Afternoon, everyone, or morning, depending perhaps where you're located across Canada. I'm just letting some folks filter in here, but I'll kick it off with some introductions and we can get started. The session is being recorded. Everyone is muted and in webinar mode, so you can put questions into the chat. I have my colleague Jaleh Sassani answering questions in the chat. We also have members from the Canadian Food Innovation Network's Regional Innovation Director team. We have 5 members located across Canada who are in the chat as well, who can help answer questions. And if you use the Q&A box, I will be addressing those either throughout or at the end. It depends sort of when I manage to catch my breath. But today we'll be taking you through our NextGen Food Innovators Program. And we're really looking forward to kicking off this program and showcasing it to all of you. So as an introduction, I'm Alex Barlow. I'm the Vice President of Programs here at CFIN. Just as a first kickoff note, if you are joining this session and you would like to hear it in French, in the top portion of your Zoom meeting window, there's a button that says Custom Live Streaming Service. You can click that and it will open up the Weebly or Worldly service, which will allow you to view live captioning of this presentation in French. Si ça vous intéresse de soumettre votre demande au programme en français, nous sommes une organisation bilingue. Tous nos documents, puis la demande tu peux le trouver en français et tu peux le soumettre en français. Ça n'a aucun impact sur votre demande. So if you want to be submitting this application in English or in French, all of our documentation is available in both languages. The application form is available in both languages. We have support as well in French. So while this session isn't taking place in English with the live captioning, I do invite you to choose the language, official language of your choice when submitting your application. If you are new to the Canadian Food Innovation Network, welcome. We are a national not-for-profit. We're member-based, and we've created what is the fastest growing food innovation-focused network in Canada. We currently have over 5,500 members, and if any of you are not members, I encourage you to do so and become a member. Membership is free. We're really focused on deploying innovation within the food sector. We're doing that through 2 main mechanisms. One is by supporting food innovators themselves. We have, for example, excellent tech sector here in Canada. We have great folks working within the food sector that have excellent ideas. We've got really novel ingredient companies and academic resources and graduates and people in school who have fantastic ideas about how we can address some common food sector problems. We also have, a really strong foundation in food as a country. We have tons of arable land. We've got good climate for the most part for growing food. We're fairly productive on that front. And we're trying to bring these 2 assets together to really advance the productivity, the competitiveness, and the overall growth of the food sector. When we say food at CFIN, we're talking about food and beverage manufacturing. We're talking about food distribution. We're talking about food service and restaurants. And we're talking about technologies or tools that might be used in retail environments or in front of the consumer. So things like packaging, consumer-facing nutrition apps, great robots that make a burger better than you can at your local Harvey's, new novel ways of dehydrating or processing food, supply chain technologies to ensure the cold chain. these are the sorts of things that we're interested in. And I'll talk more about that. We do not generally cover projects that touch strictly on agriculture or farming. And so in our programs, if you have a technology where the primary benefactor is a farmer, you may want to chat with us before submitting an application just to make sure that you've got a good fit. We're a national group. Not only do we offer funding, but we also offer a range of services. And we have a digital platform called Yodel, which I'll introduce a bit later, which also serves as a great meeting place for the sector, but also a place where you can connect, try and solve problems with your peers, ask about some great resources, and maybe get oriented. So as noted, we're really focused on food technology for the future of Canada. There are some great technologies available from all over the world. We have an enormous opportunity here in Canada to solve some of our own problems. We have some great technology developers, and we have a huge food sector. CFIN's membership spans 6.3% of Canada's GDP, and it employs 2.1 million Canadians. So we believe that smart investments in this sector can really deliver results for Canada, and it's our primary focus. Our members are from all across the supply chain. If you're in government, if you're in academia, if you're a student, if you are a food tech entrepreneur, or you're a food manufacturer or a restaurateur, you're welcome to join at CFIN. We're trying to bring the whole end, I would say, of the sort of post-farm gate value chain together to solve common challenges and problems. We're all facing the same ones: labor, the rapid advancement of technology, sometimes faster than we can keep up, rising costs, supply chain disruptions, etc. So these are just some of our members. And I encourage you as well, if you think that this could be a place that interests you, to add your organization and yourself to this list. Yodel is one of our primary and sort of 24/7 offerings. If you are, for example, a full-time student in the sector and you are looking for either a job, maybe you're applying to this program and you have some great technology and you're looking for a mentor, or you're on the hunt for maybe the best post-secondary institution that has access to spray drying equipment, Yodel's a great place to go and ask those questions. So it's kind of like a LinkedIn for food innovation. There are discussion boards. You can post and ask questions. You can search other posts and respond to other people's queries. You can find partners. You can look at various funding availabilities. A common question that often comes up is, a search for co-packers. You can also look up contacts and perhaps, reach out to individuals that you think could be aligned with your interests. So it's a fantastic platform, and we're always adding new tools and services. So an option for you as you sort of try to unpuzzle and address barriers in your food business, or as you look to grow your food innovation career. In 2024, on Yodel, we launched something called the Food Innovator Career Hub. We all know labor is a challenge in this sector. And you could do a very quick search and find, some somewhat catastrophic numbers when you start looking at it. And I encourage, if any of you are not from a food background, perhaps if you're STEM, if you're from software, the food sector has an enormous opportunity to offer you. And we created this space as an area where perhaps those highly familiar or those not so familiar with the food sector could come in and get oriented. We link to other job boards. We have a lot of educational content, and again, an opportunity for you to connect with the community and with mentors, and a great space for you. So that sort of preempted some of the discussion that we're having today and why we created our NextGen Food Innovator Program. We know that, Canada has an exceptionally talented academic system, especially in terms of food from coast to coast to coast. We've got some great colleges, universities, who have great students and researchers who are focused on problems that relate to the food sector. The aim with our NextGen Food Innovators is to provide some early funding to help those of you who, believe that you've got a good solution for the sector, whether it's an ingredient, whether it's a technology, to allow you to accelerate some of that pre-competitive work that you have to do to validate that you've got a solution that could work. So this is for student entrepreneurs. You need to be enrolled full-time in a post-secondary program at a Canadian accredited college or university. You don't have to have incorporated your business yet, but you can. If you have already, you can still apply. And your innovation has to focus on CFIN's membership. Even if it is maybe a little bit focused on farmers, if you choose to apply to our program, please make sure that you emphasize the benefits to food manufacturers, food service, distribution, or grocery retail. And we are looking for solutions that are IP driven. So when I say IP driven, I mean there should be some form of intellectual property. It's not your new marketing social media manager service that you're going to sell at a monthly fee to food companies. That is not IP driven. So you're looking for something that might be a novel piece of technology, or again, an ingredient. Could also be a novel process. There should be an element of new knowledge or science around your solution. Software is totally an appropriate offering. And probably one of the more common things that we see, but it could also be, things that we've funded, and I'll go through this later, but it could be a novel application of yeast to reduce off flavors or to create certain flavors as an ingredient in food. So it can be more, of a variety of solutions that you can bring forward under this program, but it does need to be IP driven. So the program is offering 100% funding to those who are selected, up to $10K, to cover materials, equipment, or third-party costs required to advance food innovation. So I have a piece of software. I've built it at a very basic scale, and I want to work with a third party to take it up to an MVP, and that's going to cost me X. That would be an eligible cost. I have a great ingredient, but I want to work with the University of Guelph or UBC on some additional testing. I have a novel food plastic coating, so it's going to get sprayed on the plastic and reduce salmonella. Fantastic. I need to do more testing, or I need to do a batch run of the product. Those are the types of costs that you can cover through this program. We will not cover tuition. We will not cover labor. There's a fairly long list of things you can look at in the program guide around expenses and what's eligible. But really, we're looking for third-party expenses, and we'll foot the bill to help you move your innovation along. We want to see that the task or what you'd like covered does help you move you along. So make sure as you submit, what is your rationale? Why is this the what you should be spending money on is something we're curious about. And note it again, and I'll hammer it a million times, it has to impact our membership. So in your rationale, make sure if you're talking about problems in the sector that you're trying to solve, please talk about our members' problems. That is what we're interested in. If you're going to talk about a farmer's problem or something deep in crop science, for example, I'm going to have a hard time, and our reviewers are going to have a hard time seeing the connections to our members. Projects, can't really exceed more than a year. We want everything to be wrapped up by December 31st of 2025. So what kind of innovations will we support? I've given some ideas already, but I'll give you some examples from technologies that we have funded and from these categories And again, our project team, our program team, or our regional innovation directors are happy to connect with you and talk to you a little bit about what you're thinking, and certainly even give you some coaching on how to best position your submission. So food manufacturing, for example, I mentioned novel dehydration techniques. We've got one company in BC called CanDry that's got a novel low temperature dehydrator, for example. Another project that we funded based out of Atlantic Canada, looking at steam applications in food processing. It could be about using spectrometry or different types of vision technologies to assess food safety. Food service is a common one. Lots of back-end order technologies, robotic applications, different consumer-facing apps, and things of that nature that we've seen. Retail and e-commerce, again, could be solutions to support smaller grocers. So for example, CFIN member in Quebec is looking at making an e-commerce platform specific to small independent grocers to allow them to get online and do electronic ordering much easier. Sustainability and circularity, so upcycling of ingredients. Maybe you're looking at, a lot of waste product from a particular food and beverage sector, maybe eggshells, and you think that there's a novel food opportunity out of it. Novel ingredients is a big one for us. So polyphenols, use of yeast or other other ingredients in managing plant-based flavoring. So a big area there. Packaging, different solutions to either extend food shelf life, improve the overall sustainability of food packaging, so the reduction of single-use plastics. Next generation food and drinks, something I'll say on that front is we're not probably a very good home because we're looking for an IP-driven solution. If you have a new protein bar, or you've formulated a really great snack bar or ice cream or a consumer product of any kind that is really sort of an existing food category already, you're just changing up the recipe, or you've got a recipe for hot sauce or something like that, that's really fantastic. That, unfortunately, is not an IP-driven solution, and so not something that we would take in our program. We're looking for things that have really novel ingredients, or perhaps are demonstrating a new functional ingredient. So we do want to see, again, that IP-driven component. Food delivery, we've seen lots of projects around food delivery robots, new solutions to use natural language processing so that those of us who don't want to type our order into Uber Eats could call and leave a voicemail and still place an order. General changes to the purchasing experience for consumers, whether it's in a restaurant or a grocery. Automation as always. Food is medicine, and generally functional foods also of interest. As I mentioned, consumer apps and services, and I would say cybersecurity tying specifically to food, also of interest, although I'd say quite niche. So those are some areas where we've seen interest, and if anyone has questions on this front, feel free to pop them in the Q&A. But yes, someone's asking food waste. Yes, sustainability and circularity is something of interest to us. Reducing food waste is certainly of interest. It'll depend exactly at what you're looking at doing with the food waste. Generally, for example, a novel process to take food waste and turn it into building materials is probably less interesting to us than food waste that then creates new food packaging. So I would just watch what you're planning on doing with the food waste. If you're planning on making, other foods, also of interest. But if it's taking food waste to make a novel textile for clothing, it's not quite, at the end use is not quite targeted at our membership. So that's kind of a, one where there could be some variation in what might be eligible. This is a two-phase application. The first phase is to complete a brief profile about you or your business. If you've actually incorporated your business at this point, then it would be about your business, and a video submission. The video submission is open now and it's due December 6th by midnight. And we're asking you, excuse me, I'm just losing my voice. We're asking you to prepare an up to 7-minute video about your business. And we have asked you to address some specific topics about your technology and what it offers in that video. And that's in the program guide. If you are selected through that phase, then we will call you forward for a full application. So if you just give me 1 second, I will pull up and tell you exactly what you should be covering in your video. So the video should be you delivering a PowerPoint presentation. Ideally, we can see your face and we can hear you, and you've got some slides to accompany it. As noted, it doesn't need to be more than 7 minutes. I would suggest taking the time to properly address that. We're looking for you in the video to describe a business challenge or an opportunity that is faced by CFIN's membership. So again, talk about a challenge or opportunity in food manufacturing, food service, distribution, or grocery retail. We want to know, what's your value proposition? How do you propose to solve this problem? Will your software allow people to redirect food waste, or will it allow, will your technology allow them to use less energy in their restaurant operations? We're curious, how do you think your business will generate revenue? We know many of you are at an early stage, so we're not asking you to give us a cash flow forecast or anything like that, but tell us, how do you think this is going to make money? If you're building a robot, are you doing a robot as a service, so a RaaS model? Are you looking to sell a robot? Are you really looking at making something that's, an automation solution that's very easy to install and retrofit so that it's easy and affordable for organizations to purchase? Have you, considered, how you'll get there and what the revenue model is? We again want to know that there's a science or a technology and IP component to your solution. And we'd like to know what's your plan for building out this business. So right now you want to probably cover this expense with the money that we'd give you, but where are you going in your commercial venture? And what's your plan for continuing to build it out? If you're called forward from the video, so we'll score all the videos and then we'll choose the top scoring submissions to move to the next phase. The next phase is just a fulsome application. So then it's scored questions and you're going to be writing up to 500-word responses regarding what's the vision for your business, what's your innovation, if you've done any work to date to validate your product market fit. Writing out how are you going to generate revenue, how your venture will make money. We'd love to know who you have involved in this. Maybe it's just you. Maybe you're leveraging your research colleagues or other partners. We'd like to know, that the team around you is credible and strong. Again, we want to understand the technical innovation, and we want to know why, explain to us, why do you want a funding and how does this fit into your plan within, for your organization. One thing that we do ask in the application is that at the first phase that that you attach a letter of recommendation or a letter of recommendation or a letter from a professor who you work under or from your entrepreneurship lab. So we would like to see that, and I apologize, that's at the full application. So we're looking for, someone who can speak to your capabilities and the work on your venture to date. And that's something that we'll want to see at the full application stage, is a letter of endorsement from a mentor or your entrepreneurship office or a professor. So right now, the first piece, the video, is due December 6th. From there, if you're successful with the video, you'll be invited forward to do the full application. You'll have that notice mid-December, and then you'll have about 6 weeks to do your full application, which I would say is not a huge, we tried to keep it, we ask you for some detail, but we're trying to keep it as accessible as possible. And of course, that's when you would require your letter, would be for February 6th, 2025, which is the deadline for your full application. And then we will let you know within a month of that if you were successful. And then you've got the rest of the year to complete your project, incur your expense, and spend the money that we gave you. So a few things you'll want to do if you want to access this program. If you're not already, you'll want to become a CFIN member. So to become a CFIN member, you pop on to our website at cfin-rcia.ca. And at the very top, you'll see a button that says Join CFIN. If you've never joined before, you'll just fill out your profile, which will populate your profile on Yodel. So, that's how people will know what you're interested in, where you're from, etc. And once you've done that, then you can log into Yodel. You'll be a member of our organization, and then you'll be able to access our application portal, which usually takes us about 24 hours to activate. If you're looking for the program guide and information, it's available on our website. You'll be able to find a program guide in both French and English. You'll be able to find the recording from this info session. And you'll also find, once you're logged in as a Yodel member, you will find this Apply Now button right here. And that's where you can get to our application system. It's also listed in all the guides, and we'll pop it here in a second in the chat as well. But this is where you can find all the information on the application and sort of the base guide and information. And the guide is, 30 or so pages that'll take you through all the requirements of the program. And of course, to actually apply, we use an application portal called Smart Simple. And I'll show you in a minute how to access that. You will log in with the same email you used to create your Yodel account the first time that you go there. If you've never been on this yet, you'll go to Forgot Password and get yourself set up on this platform. So if by going to Forgot Password, it'll send you an email. You'll click that, set up your password, and then you'll be able to log in. So I'll just show you briefly how to do that. I am seeing some different questions in the chat. I also recommend, if you have other questions, to put them in the QA, and I will address them at the end. I'm just going to show you now just a quick reminder. So for joining CFIN's website, this is our website. Our program info and this program details is found right here. And you can join CFIN or you can sign in. And so obviously, if you have not joined, you want to pop in right here. I'm going to sign in. There we go. And then this is Yodel, and these are some of the discussions that are happening there. And if I go to the CFIN programs page now, I'll see the Apply Now button. So here's our NextGen Food Innovators. And I see an apply now button. I may not see that button if I am not logged into Yodel. So if you're not seeing it, it's because you're not logged in. So apply now. So this is, as I mentioned, our program portal. If you are someone who wants to access the application in French, you can toggle in between here and change the language. As I mentioned, the first time you come and use this after you become a Yodel member, it may take about 12 hours to map your account over. You'll want to do forgot password. I already have a password, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm just going to log in. And of course, it's going to ask me for multi-factor authentication because we're all about security here at CFIN. So give me a second to receive that. And here we go. And submit. So when you arrive into our application portal, this is what it will look like. You most likely will have nothing under here. It all says zeros because you're brand new. You can populate your organization profile, so the name of your company, the address, etc. Here, you can change your own password and do all that stuff under my profile. But of course, what do we want to do? We want to apply for funding. So under funding opportunities, you'll find a couple programs, one here where the deadline is passed, and of course the NextGen Food Innovator Program. So I'm going to click Apply Now to start that application. We have 4 qualifying questions just to make sure that we don't, get you into an application that maybe you're not eligible for. So you'll want to answer these questions. So again, does your project impact CFIN's membership in the post-farm gate? So I'm going to say yes. Have I connected with my regional innovation director? I'm not going to lie to you. You can say yes or no to this question and you can still proceed. I will tell you that you more than likely will get great insights from chatting with your regional innovation director about your application. And so I do recommend reaching out to them, and their contact info can be found right here. And a few of them are on the chat for this call. Their contact, when you sign up as a member, they also, you get their contact when you do that, depending on your region. So I'm going to say yes. I speak to our regional innovation directors pretty often. Am I enrolled in a full-time program? Again, this is a requirement of the application. I'm going to say for the purposes of this test, yes. And is this project IP driven? Are you going to be demonstrating some new knowledge, some new technology? Making a new protein bar is not eligible for the program. I'm going to say yes. So submit that eligibility. Then it will say, great, you've confirmed your eligibility, you can proceed. And now I'm into the application. So this is what the application looks like. You're going to fill out a brief title, description. So it might be, I want to do some testing on my novel upcycled ingredient. Perfect. You can put in your start end date, your contact info. If your startup venture has a name, we'd like to hear it, even if it's not yet incorporated. And we ask you some questions about whether or not you are incorporated, what region you're in, where you're enrolled for school, etc. Then you'll have an area where you can paste the link to your video. Please make sure that the video is accessible, that the sharing settings allow it to just be viewed. We do not want to download it. We do not want to have to log in to access it. You want to give us a link where we can just go and we can watch it. So think about the permissions when you paste that in. If we have any challenges, we'll be coming back to chat with you. Your application files. This is where you can include your letter of recommendation or endorsement from your post-secondary institution. You can also include any other documents. Maybe you've got some initial test results from your ingredient that seems very promising. And then terms and conditions. I saw someone ask here in the questions, how do we ensure confidentiality? What we're asking you for, first of all, I don't really want the absolute secret to how you get to everything. So if you've got a novel ingredient or technology, I'm not asking you to lay out exactly what you're doing or what the recipe is or all of those sorts of things. It's a high level presentation in the sense of addressing the problem and telling us what the novelty is and how it's innovative. It doesn't have to be, this is all the secret, you know, to my industrial design. In terms of who sees the application, our staff review it. We do bring in external reviewers. We screen them for conflict of interest. So for example, if you have a novel piece of I don't know, vision technology, I'm not going to get someone who owns a vision technology company to review your application. We often do bring in academic partners, members from other not-for-profits, industry associations. We also bring in business mentors. So it's a wide variety. We typically, they operate under an NDA and they're screened for conflicts of interest. But you shouldn't be putting anything in here that's so secret that you can't tell us. So you should be able to talk about your technology and your innovation at a level that at least we can understand that it's novel, that it's interesting, that it's solving our sector problems, but I don't need to know the secret sauce. And all of that information around privacy and what we do with the information is listed here, and you can read it very carefully, and you can also reach out to our privacy officer if you have more questions about it. Once you've completed all that, a submit button will appear, and then you can go ahead and submit your application. And then if you're called forward, you'll log back into this profile and then go ahead and do the more fulsome application. So that's how you go ahead and apply. I'm seeing some other questions here I'm going to address. Someone's asking, is this program available yearly? This is a one-time call for applications. So it's available now until December 6th, and that's it. So if you are interested, it's a great time to apply. We don't have plans at this exact moment to run this program again next year. It's certainly a first for us to offer a program targeted at student entrepreneurs. So we're really excited about it, but no idea yet if it will be back next year. So as I mentioned, I took you through how to apply. One thing to note, if you go in and you start an application, so I went under funding opportunities, I started my draft, I saved it. When you come back, your in-progress application will be found here. Do not go back in here and start a new one. You will start from scratch. You will find anything that you saved right here. Once it's submitted, it'll be in this bucket right here. If we've approved or declined it, it will be here. And if we decline your application, a feedback session is available, and certainly there's a rationale usually provided on the portal. But this is once you've actually started something and you're going back in to work on it. Don't start a new one from scratch. So many people do that. Go in under my applications and work on the one in progress. So I'm going to, I see a couple questions in the QA. I'm going to invite more. If you want to scan this to be taken to our Join CFIN page, you can go ahead. And someone's asking, can we participate as a group? I'm not really sure I understand that question, but I'll try and answer it as best as possible. So if you are a group of individuals who intend to co-found a company together, then one of you may lead the application and you may identify the other individuals as potential co-founders. Yes. If you are thinking that you're multiple organizations who want to start your own companies, but you all want to apply together, no, this is really meant to be for someone who's looking to incorporate a venture. So if your group is a group of people who are planning to be the shareholders or the primary owners in that business, then go for it. And if you are looking to, to do that, then yes, but there is only one person is going to be able to open, edit, and submit this application. So if you have two groups a couple individuals who want to submit this together, you're only going to have like one contact that's going in and actually doing the application. So I hope that clarifies. If you are a group who intends to one day co-found an organization together, yes, hopefully at the end of this project. If you are I don't know why you would come together as a group under a different framework. So I can't think of another example, but I hope that that answers your question. I'm not seeing any other further applications. I'm just going back through. But if you have questions around what kind of technology or costs might be eligible or things like that, I'm more than happy to address them. Someone says, can we apply using our PhD project? Yes, if you have, we do ask you in the application if the IP that you are, looking to develop further was developed while within a program at your post-secondary institution, and whether or not you've considered any IP encumbrances or challenges around that. So it's just something you'll want to think about. I'm not an expert on that front. I believe that you could apply for using your PhD project. You would need to identify further costs that you want to cover with our funding in your application. And if you want to chat with us more about that, again, an excellent opportunity to reach out to either our programs team or you can use this innovation@cfin-rcia email to get in touch with our programs team or with our regional innovation directors. Someone's asking, do we need to provide a detailed budget? It's only $10,000. So I would say the level of detail, as much as I would love to tell you that's required is, it's $10,000 these days. That's a big amount of money, but not necessarily a huge budget. We do ask you to tell us what you want to spend the money on, and we do have a budget form that you would complete in the full application. In the video, it would be good for you to tell us why you want the money. That's part of what we score you on. But you don't need to say, I have a quote from the University of Manitoba for $982.50, and then I have a quote from this for that. So at the video stage, no. At the more fulsome application, you are going to have to provide us some detail along what you want to get covered. We're looking for information on whether or not it's materials, it's a subcontractor, or it might be equipment. Someone's asking in the Q&A or in the chat, can you give an example of eligible costs? So for many cases, it might be that within the school that you are currently at, there are testing capabilities for you to, like you might be able to access testing equipment for a fee. That's the kind of cost you could cover. You may have to order a batch of materials that you need. So for example, let's say you're looking at a novel application of an extract out of avocado peels. You might need to order some of that extract. You might need to order, I don't know, other ingredients, things like that. You might need to send something out to SGS or, Bureau Veritas for testing. You could be any number of things. But it's got to be materials. Equipment is something we'll consider, although I have a feeling that won't be the heaviest category we see. And then subcontractors or consultants. And the subcontractor or consultant could be a post-secondary institution. It could be a testing organization. It could be a consultant who's going to help you solve a bit of a challenge you're running into. It could be a contract development resource for a piece of software. So hopefully that gives you some good examples. We are offering 100% funding up to $10,000. So that's what we're offering to cover, maybe one or two expenses, depending, maybe more, depending on what your project involves, up to $10,000. So, recognizing that we're often dealing with individuals who have, are at a very early stage in their commercial venture. That's why we're offering the 100% funding. So hopefully that clarifies. It's a good question, but it could be anything that you need to advance your solution a little further down the road. If you're building a piece of hardware, let's say that it might get installed in a restaurant, you might need to buy some Raspberry Pi type systems. You might need to buy wire. You might need to purchase some custom machined components. Maybe you need to purchase some 3D printed components. It's really open where, you'll know, I think, what you need in your business. And I don't think we're really set to argue with you, but we are going to be curious whether or not you can lay out your plan clearly. Things we're always looking for is, as I mentioned, is your technology solving a problem that's relevant to CFIN's membership? Does it have an IP-driven component? Do you have a team or resources around you who can help you solve this problem? And, so for example, I don't know, this is probably not a great example, but if you're looking at testing an ingredient profile and you don't identify who could help you do that testing, that might be a bit of a weaker response than someone who says, I know exactly who can do this testing for me. It's so and so, and I've already talked to them, and I believe that they'll help me move this to the next step. So we're looking for a competent team, and then we're looking for a clear plan. Like, what is it you want to do? What's your vision for your business? How do you think it's going to make money? I'm not going to lie to you, at this stage in most people's business, that plan may change a lot from this sort of articulation to, what it looks like at the finish line. But we do want to see a plan, even if it's not your final plan. So thinking about how you're going to make money, thinking about, what your shareholder ownership structure might be, depending on the approach you take, etc. Someone else with a lot of questions around our ethics and privacy. We are funded by the federal government, but we are our own not-for-profit. We are not federal employees. If you want to chat with us offline about your concerns about what privacy or risks you might be exposing yourself to by applying to our programs, you're welcome to reach out to me using the email on your screen. Someone's asking, it must be our business or we can offer that to others. I don't quite understand that question, but I will say it can be that you intend to commercialize this IP and offer the ingredient to the world. Could be that you intend to create a piece of software that you intend to sell to others. It's open, so you don't have to. I'm not sure I understand the question exactly, but I hope that answers it. If you are receiving funding from other sources for the exact same cost that we are funding, please consider we are offering 100% funding. So if you want to get 100% funding from us and then go ask someone else for 50%, there are some things called stacking rules. Usually government doesn't want to pay for more than 100% of an expense. So no, you probably don't want to cover the same bill with CFIN and someone else. However, if you're getting a MyTax grant to bring someone in to help you, and then you want to use our money to go do some testing and cover another cost, that's allowed. But getting more than 100% funding on a single cost is not going to fly. Couple questions have come up here. I think I've answered most of them. If you do have more, I welcome you to submit them. Or as I mentioned, this email address here, innovation@cfin-rcia.ca, is answered by our program team, and we'd be happy to respond to it. If I'm not seeing, I'm seeing one more question. The program is only for students. So yes, you must be a full-time student enrolled in a post-secondary institution, whether it's college or university here in Canada. So hopefully that answers that. It's quite clearly stipulated in the base eligibility requirements. And so if you're not a student or a postdoctoral fellow or enrolled full-time in a post-secondary education program, you will not be eligible for our program. Not seeing any new questions. I invite you to submit any future inquiries about this program to our email, as I said. We're really excited about this program and the opportunity that it offers student entrepreneurs. And if you know of any who might fit into this program, or if you are one who might fit into this program, certainly encourage you to apply. Reach out to us if you've got any questions. And we're so excited to see what fantastic solutions bubble up through this process, and to hear how you're all looking to creatively tackle some of the food sector challenges that Canada is facing. So with all that said, I'll say thank you. I'll give you all a few minutes back to your day. Encourage you to continue the conversation with our regional innovation directors or program staff. Either Jaleh or myself will be happy to answer your questions. And as I mentioned, this video will be posted on our website, likely in the next 48 hours. And the application and the program guide are already open and accessible to you, so you can go and check them out and read through and begin submitting your application if that interests you. Thanks so much, everyone. Really appreciate you all joining and listening to me talk about this program today. Have a fantastic day.